All right, well, welcome everybody to the fourth session over the last 2 days. A lot of you, I've been jumping on those meetings, so I know a lot of you have also sat in 4 of them. So I think it's been pretty rad. So we're going to keep the radness going for this last session. I'm not going to spend too much time talking right now because we have a lot of cool stuff to cover, and we're going to do it in the 45 minutes that we have. And then just a reminder that if after the 45 minutes you've heard something that you really like, or you just want to stay on with the presenters, we've got plenty of time afterwards. So my name is Tim Floyd. I'm at Huntington Beach High School. I see a lot of familiar faces, so hi to everybody that I know. And if I don't know you, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. Before I introduce the lead learners of this session and also kind of get into what the topics are, I just want to say a little thing. Like, I think the last couple months, we've all had to just sort of figure a new way of teaching out, and kids have had to figure out, how to learn with this new thing. And it's been kind of crazy and chaotic. And I think we've done a pretty good job of adapting. Personally, I've talked to kids throughout this whole time just for random reasons. And that's the one thing I've asked, just kind of like, how's this distance learning been going? And, I know that there's issues and we've had our struggles, but for the most part, the kids have been super appreciative of what all the teachers have kind of done to just keep things engaging, keep things interesting. So it's been cool. So just know that, like, the kids, they see the work that all you guys are putting in. And I think, next year we all sort of realize that this is going to be an element. We don't know how much it's going to be an element, but it's going to be around. So that's the whole point of this professional development. So while next year may be like one of the most challenging and crazy years, it might be one of the toughest years we've all had. Like, you can look at the positives, and it may also be the most exciting, entertaining, and revolutionary years in education. So I think it's all about the mindset that we all have. So you're all here ready to learn. It's a mindset shift. So let's have some fun and let's learn some stuff. So without further ado, we have a session where we're going to go over, I believe there are 8 different things. And before we throw up the slideshow and start sharing our screen, I'm going to let the presenters introduce themselves as opposed to me doing it. So we'll go in this order. We'll go Brian, Ryan, Sarah, Peter. So you guys jump on, introduce who you are, where you work, and then we'll go.
Hi, everybody. Hi, friends out there that I know. And I'm over at Edison High School. I've been there 25 years, and I'm the tech resource teacher at Edison. I'm a SciBax teacher as well, and deal with U.S. history, economics, government. So I'm here today to help you get to know all of these tools. We're going to take a short tour, about 5 minutes for each of the tools. So sit tight.
Hey everyone, Ryan Kimes over at Huntington Beach High School, and I teach math, and currently it's Algebra 1 and AP Stats, and I'm going to be covering Desmos and Con, with my goal kind of showing Desmos. A lot of math teachers use it a bunch, but want to show how it can be used in other subjects just as much as it can in math.
Hi, my name is Sarah Broderick. I am teaching algebra at Westminster High School, and I'm going to be sharing how to use Edge Elastic both to assess content, but also to present content either in your classroom or in a distance learning environment.
Hi everyone, my name is Peter Doe. I teach at Westminster High School, Algebra 1 and Avid, and I will be going through Pear Deck and PlayPosit.
Perfect. All right, so those are the rock stars that you guys get to learn from over the course of the next, we're down to 40 minutes at this point. So like Brian said, we've got a lot of stuff to cover. So we'll spend about 5 minutes on each tool, get kind of a really quick overview, just sort of give you a taste of what it can do. And then if it applies to you and you think you can use it and you think you want to learn more, like I said, stay on after the 45 minutes and we can hang out for another, as long as you want. Well, we're only going to stay for an hour and 15 minutes, so you can't hang out with us longer than that. But plenty of time to dig in a little deeper if you don't quite get enough. But yeah, it's going to be rad. So at this point, Boone, can you share the screen and we'll start the fun?
Sounds good.
Cool. Just really quick though, before we get going, if at any point you guys have questions, and a lot of you that have gone through these sessions already know the drill, throw questions up in the chat room if you want. I'll try to monitor those, and we can kind of jump in with some Q&A here and there if it needs to kind of be postponed until that after the session after this. Like, that's fine if there's a lot of questions, but we'll try to keep up with the questions. And if everyone can just make sure that their mics are muted, that would be awesome, so we don't hear your dogs or your sneezes or whatever you got going on. All right, without further ado, Ryan Boone.
Can you guys hear and see me okay? Everything good? Awesome. There is nothing wrong with your screen. I have a little filter going on. The Firefly effect is from an app called Snap Camera that you can download and add little fun filters to your camera and have fun with that. We can talk about that at the end if you're interested. So the three tools that I'm going to be introducing to you are Flipgrid, Screencastomatic, and a refresh on what Google Slides can do for you. So let's take a look. With Flipgrid, I hit the present mode, blow this up a little bigger for you. We've organized each of these slides so that there is a how-to section and also examples of what these various tools can do. And so for Flipgrid, think of Flipgrid as a way to get connected with your students during distance learning, because it's a super easy video tool for you to use. I'm going to show you a couple of examples of what it can do. And then at the end of all this, if you have questions, let us know. We can go back over it. So on the example side, I have this Career Plan That Makes Sense assignment. And so from a Canvas standpoint, you'll see what this Canvas assignment looks like. Let me blow it up a little bit bigger. And it was a CTE career and technology video series that the kids watched. And instead of just responding with a written response, I had them do a Flipgrid video. And the student responses filter in through here. And this is the teacher view, and it's all integrated. And so there is a step-by-step on how to do all that. The student view from when they log into Canvas at the bottom of their Canvas assignment would look like this. And the only thing they have to do is click on this green button here to get the video content up and running. So they have responses like this one. Let me give you a quick snapshot.
Hi, this is Boone. I've been working out, connecting with family, and staying on task with just my daily planner every day. For question 2,
so they respond, and then teachers have an opportunity to respond in kind and give feedback down below. Oops, yeah. And then here's an example of a different assignment. Did a quick review on Hippie Day. And so here's this.
Hi, happy Hippie Day. So my favorite part of the video was all the characteristics of hippies and how it like united them all together. That was different than any other generation had done before. And like how they had the communal living, drugs, their fashion choices, like how they grew up their hair long, like mine is right now, their sexuality, music, and political.
So you get the idea. So these responses you can give feedback to. Let's see. Here's an example of a student-to-student reply. This is me role-playing a student responding back to Amanda.
Hey Ella, nice job on your video. You rock. I love your enthusiasm and positivity. Keep up the hard work. Rock on.
Anyway, and inside of the response, you're also allowed to leave feedback directly back to the student privately, and only they get to see.
Hi Amanda. It was nice watching your Flipgrid video. I really appreciate your enthusiasm for learning. Hang in there. I hope you keep doing all the assignments that I still have in store for you. We finish school on June 11th, so don't give up. Thanks.
And it's a super easy tool to use. All the step-by-step instructions will be available for you, and as this slideshow will be posted back to the Canvas PD course for use all summer. So Screencastomatic is the next tool. And most of you probably use some kind of screencast software already. This is just one of many. I prefer it because of the various editing tools and the fact that you can edit and truncate back to mistakes you make when you're recording on the fly. And it's very simple to post these screencasts back to YouTube. So here's a quick overview of what this can do.
Welcome to Screencastomatic, a fast, free, and easy-to-use screen and webcam recorder used by millions worldwide. Let's get started. Click here to start recording, and then launch the recorder. If it's your first time, you'll be prompted to download and install the software. Once installed, it's just one click to launch. You can record the screen, webcam, or both. You can record as many videos as you want, up to 15 minutes long. Upgrade to our video editor and get unlimited recording times. Drag or resize the frame to record any part of your screen. Or choose pre-selects, such as standard HD sizes and full screen. With the webcam selected, you can drag and resize the webcam frame within the recording area. You can choose your microphone to narrate your video. Now hit record, and all the action inside the frame will be captured. Pause, resume, preview, or restart any of your recordings. Click Done, and easily trim the start and end of your video. Then add royalty-free music to excite your audience. It's that simple. You can save your video file to your desktop, post it on Screencastomatic.com, or publish directly to YouTube. When you upgrade, you get more uploading options. After your video is uploaded, get a link to copy or use quick share buttons to easily share to Facebook and Twitter. For those who want more out of Screencast-O-Matic, Video Editor gives access to tools that allow you to zoom, add text and images, animate overlays, blur sections, and much more. Join in on the fun. Create, share, and experience video with Screencast-O-Matic.
All right, and so you can get the idea with how that works. I'm sure most of you use some kind of screencasting tool. Those of you that don't, I highly recommend this one. This quick video over here will show you how to keep your small window on, and also some of the slide content that you might want to share with your students as you invite them to learn from your expertise.
Hey,
this is an example. Yeah.
Ryan, real quick, there's some questions in the chat about the difference between Screencastomatic and Loom.
And Loom, okay.
And I'm not sure if you're familiar or someone else wants to jump in, but
Sure, no problem. I can't see the chat because I have it on full screen mode. Thanks, Tim. Loom does not allow you to truncate back to mistakes that you're making on the fly, but you can edit those mistakes out after. That's one of the reasons why I prefer Screencast-O-Matic, is because if you make a mistake, you want to be able to go back to that same second that you made the mistake and cut that out right away. So I prefer Screencast-O-Matic, and I recommend that when you're doing screencast videos, you keep them to 15 minutes or less, because after that, people start to tune out. And so if you can give them quick hits with 5 to 10 minute videos, that's my biggest recommendation. And then they can answer questions accordingly based on the content that you give them. So here's what one looks like.
Missed its target, ricocheted. Missed its target, ricocheted.
So this is an example of some history content that I did.
The fatal headshot hits Governor Connolly, and from the perspective of the Warren Commission report, hits him from behind, causing a massive head wound.
So we won't talk about that much, but the point here is, if you can see in the upper right-hand side, you see my screen, you still have that connection with the student. They're watching you present. And also, when you're looking at different diagrams and things that you wanted to share with them, you have that opportunity if you follow the directions that I give on this example right here. So it teaches you, this example will teach you how to keep your small screen active that students can see, and then hone in on your slides if that's what you want to do. So let me go on to the next item. Google Slides have a lot of different tools that you probably didn't know you could do with them. And so you can create fillable graphic organizers. So think of your, I don't know, your favorite activity or worksheet that you might have in class, and then you can take that into the Google Slide environment and make that into a fillable graphic organizer. So here's an example of where you will find.
Hi there, Jamie Keeter, today teachers.
So the idea here with teachers.
Hi there, Jamie.
Whoops, here we go. Is Teachers Tech. Jamie Keeter is really good at these screencast videos and the stuff that he presents, and so that's one of the things I can share with you. And as he goes through this, he creates a fillable worksheet. And so this is a step-by-step instructional video that you can go back and watch. So that's up here. The next item worth mentioning, if you haven't seen it before, Google Lens would allow you to take existing hard copy documents and text and copy and paste them directly to a Google document. And so there's examples of how that works in this particular video.
Google is trying to make AR play a more useful role in.
Let me fast forward to that section. So on your phone, if you have the Google app, and right here, this particular person took a picture of this document that was sitting on their, let me back up so you can see what he's talking about. He took a picture and then is selecting the text right from that book cover that was on the table, copying it, and it's OCR capable, meaning that you can take and either translate that or you can pop that into a Google document right from your phone. And so the AI, the Google app is just amazing. So check that out. It's one of the most widely used apps on the iOS platform. So go for it and give that a try. It's pretty remarkable. Example of the hyperslides. Hyperslides can do a lot for you and your content. And I really want you to go over this 15 tips slides for everything link from Amanda Sandoval. She's a history teacher that teaches at Eisenhower High School in the Santa Ana School District. And so she has a very interactive slide tips for you. 15 different things that you want to know how to do things with. So you can go through the list yourself, but definitely take a look at this. This is something that's usable in any subject for sure. Here's an example of what that might look like. At the end of all this, you can start creating cool interactive hyperslide decks that your students can make copies of and then turn these documents back into you. So what I mean by that is she helped me develop this Vietnam protest activity, and you see a number of different slides with colorful content, and each student would go back and put their response directly on the slide itself instead of a separate document. And it gives them the ability to stay in one place and read the content, maybe watch an interactive video that's embedded in it like these, and then respond in kind on the next slide so that it's all in one place. And she will teach you how to use all the different features that are here. It's really great.
Right on, Boone. Hey, for the sake of time, we're gonna move on. There's some questions about costs and if there's free codes and everything. So if people have that information, you know, as we get it, we'll dump all that into the Canvas course. We can all take advantage of the free codes if they exist. And again, if you got any questions about those free tools, click on this chat after we're done and we'll go in a little more detail. But for now, I'm going to turn it over to Peter. He's going to talk about Pear Deck and Play Padlet.
Yeah, sorry, I'm presenting right now. Give me 1 second. I definitely know what I'm doing. Okay, good. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Now we can. We're
Okay.
good.
So just building off of what Brian was saying about Google Slides, Pear Deck just adds an extra layer of engagement on top of it, and it allows you to engage every student. And to me, it's pretty easy to integrate. So we're going to look at one of the examples that I have right now. So when you have your Google Slides, you just need to go to add-ons, and then if you don't have it already, then you click Get Add-ons, and then you find Pear Deck, and then you just install it on there. So it's pretty easy to start off with, and then it'll have that add-on options. So for any of your Google Slides, you can add a variety of interactions for students, ranging from text to choice to number to website to draw and draggable. So there's just multiple ways that students can interact with the content and the material. So we're going through one of the slides that I did for exponential growth just this year, and a lot of students really enjoyed it when I gave them the end of the year survey. So when you're presenting on the teacher end, this is what it looks like. Let me share you this. Yeah, so it's very similar to Google Slides. It just has layers of interactions. So we start off with a quick movie. So there's like the first interactions that the students had. I asked the students, you know, if there was a zombie outbreak, who would you find first? What are 3 items you would grab to help you survive? And share with me where you'd go. So this is like a quick, very low stakes interaction for a student so they can just get comfortable with it before we dive into the math. And it allows for a quick, fun discussion with them. So this is a text interaction, and the students can type their text, and you can click Show Responses, and you can see and display all of their responses as well. So it's also a point of discussion, or if someone has a really interesting or fun or cool answer, then you can just point out their answer and be like, hey, so-and-so said this. What do you guys think about this? It's just one of the ways you could use it. And it gives students a chance to share ideas, discuss, and they can also learn from each other as well. And then I think here's an example of a draggable. Like for example, for this icon, I would tell them that, hey, you guys have a zombie coming to attack you, and then students can drag an X, and I could ask the students, you know, where would you hit the zombie to make them stop chasing you? And they could drag the X where they would hit the zombie, and we could have like another fun discussion about that as well. And then we did a zombie simulation. This is not very Pear Deck, but ignore that. And then just more checks for understanding for the students. So after we did the simulation, they had data, and then I just had the students do a data analysis and then type down their answer as well. And we went through and we discussed each other's answers, and then students can kind of see, once the answers are up, kind of see what the right answers are, and they can kind of correct and fix their understanding as well. One more thing that I did was, I think this one, prior to the whole coronavirus getting big, we actually talked about it in class. And this is, I think, one of the draggable slides where I could ask the student, so when did the graph of the coronavirus went away from linear and went towards exponential? What was the turning point from linear to exponential? and they can drag an icon to like around this point where they can kind of see, oh, look, it's no longer linear, it's exponential. So these are just examples of how you can use the interactions for Pear Deck. And then on the slide that you guys will have access to in a bit, you guys will have access to my basic example, which is like a level 1. But Pear Deck does do a lot in providing resources to teachers, where they kind of provide slide decks for growth mindsets, supporting SEL, and using Pear Deck for math. And you can just copy and paste their slides onto your slides, just throw it in there, here and there to integrate these developments. And they also have a student pace mode where the student can go through the slides on their own and answer it. And then you can kind of look at their answers at the end once they submit it. And they've also implemented a new tool where with their answers, you can reply back to their answers. So whatever responses you have, you can give them a written response back, which is something that I think was new this year. So that is Pear Deck. It's just an extra layer of student engagement for, yeah, student to content. Any questions for Pear Deck?
Yeah, you got a couple questions in there. One, so going back to when you were talking about in the show responses click, can you view individual student responses?
Yeah, so when you're sharing the individual student responses, you can highlight one and then the whole class can look at it. And then the answer, when it shows up, will be anonymous for the whole class. But on your end, if you're on the dashboard, it'll be, you can see who's answering what. So there is accountability where students can't just, you know, throw a funny answer just to be funny. You can kind of call them out on it.
And then there's another question. Would Pear Deck be something you could do while you were creating a screencast?
While you're creating a screencast?
Is that?
I want to say yes. Like you can, I wouldn't say while you're using a screencast, but I think you can use it in connection to the screencast, like at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. All right, awesome. Well, we can dive into all that stuff afterwards. Let's jump over to Play Pause It.
Perfect. All right, next is Play Pause It. So Play Pause It, you guys know how when you guys present videos to the class, then you guys like pause it and ask the classroom a question or like a quick poll, just get an answer, or to kind of gauge their engagement or their understanding. Well, Play Pause It kind of allows you to do that for everyone at the same time. So they have interactive videos. They're called bulbs with real life data for checks for understanding and progress completion. So it's good for both asynchronous and synchronous learning. I mainly use it for asynchronous because during distance learning, students are usually working on their own at their own time. So when you're going through Play Pause It, you have to choose a video. So you could either upload your own video or choose one from YouTube or choose any website that has a video. Really, it's really good with embedding videos. And then within each video, you can put in an interaction at a certain time. So this is one of my math examples where we're learning going over function rules. So I can pause the video at any time and throw in any of these interaction questions. So we have multiple choice, we have check alls, we have free responses, we have fill in the blanks, we have polls, and we have discussions. This is like the very basic foundations of Play Pause It that you can use to kind of make sure that students are understanding the material and kind of getting a constant feedback of whether it's like a constant formative assessment for them as well. But if you're already comfortable with Play Pause It, there's like a second level of Play Pause It where you can do student peer reviews. So Brian actually shared this with me earlier last week, where it's with student peer reviews, students can upload a performance, and within that performance, you can use their performance and kind of ask other students to review their performance and give objective analysis of it or like highlights of it and a review of it. I think here's one of the examples we can look at. And then you can assign their presentation to the whole class and have everyone review it at the same time. And one of the cool things is there's a discussion tool, or this discussion tool, let me show you right here. So there's a discussion tool that allows students to perform peer reviews after a student has uploaded their bulb. You can assign student bulb to their peers and have a discussion prompt in the bulb that would require other students to view and leave a comment. And then the discussion answers will be shared with all viewers. For example, what is the scenario that would be modeled by the table given above? And then once I answer it, I can see other students answer and so forth. So that's like a second level play posit. And if you're like really advanced and you want to shift the responsibility away from you, you can go, oh, I did not share that. Oh, whoops, I did not share that. You can go to student curated bulbs, where students can make their own bulbs and put on their own interactions. And you can kind of grade them off that. And with a whole bunch of crowdsourced data, you can choose the best student curated bulb and assign it for the whole class. So that kind of takes away from your responsibility as creating the content as well. And with that, you can also ask students to engage in a higher level of thinking, maybe asking them for DOK level 2s and level 3 questions instead of simple level 1 questions for PlayPosit. And yeah, and here are some how-tos to do the followings. And if you didn't understand anything that I said, I don't blame you. There's a link for it that you can watch on your own. And here's some examples of each that I have provided. And that is it. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, let's just go. There's that feedback. Peter, can you mute yourself real quick?
Sorry, I can't hear you. I can just go through the questions on the.
So yeah, I wanted to add one thing, Peter, in that on, let's see, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Laura Siebers from PlayPosit is going to post an online PD for us. So we invite you to come back at 9 if you want to find out more about PlayPosit. A lot of these tools are brand new to the district and we haven't had them before. And provided we use this tool and put some pressure on IS to fully fund the PlayPosit program, we will be able to use that next fall. And I'm hoping that that's the case. So if you like what you see, vote for it somehow through your TRT to get some acknowledgement there, and we'll put it in the budget.
Cool. Boom, mute yourself.
Sounds good.
Mute. Okay. Sorry about the feedback. I don't know what's going on. Okay, we're gonna move on to Sarah. Just remember, like, stick with us afterwards. There's a lot of rad questions. You know, people want some detailed specifics about Pear Deck and also PlayPosit. We can get to that, but I want to give Sarah time to talk through Edge Elastic, and then we've got Ryan with Desmos and Khan Academy. So, Sarah, take it away.
All right, we good? Can you guys see and hear? Okay, cool. So I just, hopefully some of you are familiar with Edge Elastic. It's kind of a cool assessment program, but I just wanted to share with you a way that I use it to present content. So Edge Elastic, for those of you who are unfamiliar, it's generally used as an assessment tool, has lots of different question types, including for math, it has graphing, like, so especially as a math teacher, it's been like really nice to use. It also syncs with Canvas, which means like you can basically just press like sync and it'll bring all the grades directly into Canvas. And it shows live progress as students work on an assignment. And so I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but it's been really nice. Sometimes I'll have students working on an Edge Elastic assignment in my class, and I'll just have the live progress projected on the board. So they literally just know right away if they got a question wrong and they can go back and fix it. So here's, I really discovered this year, kind of how to go farther with Edge Elastic and use it not only as an assessment tool, but also as a learning tool. So what I did is I would embed or link to a video in Edge Elastic, and then students could move at their own pace through an Edge Elastic assignment. So they could watch a video, try a couple practice problems, and then they could go ahead and do a couple questions in Edge Elastic. And when I did that in class, that meant that students could move at their own pace. I could just look at the projector, which they were seeing too, and see their progress and know right away which students needed help, which students maybe were really far ahead, and I could say, hey, can you go walk around and answer other students' questions for 5 minutes? And so it was really nice in class, and then I continue to use that model for distance learning. And so just here's an example of what it looks like in the assignment, and I'm actually just gonna, I made a video just because it's kind of lags with the video conferencing. But basically, an assignment might look like this, where question 1 is just directions for the assignment. Question 2, there's actually a video that students are watching. And then question 3 would be practice problems with question 4 being the answers. And that's not something that I would do if students were in class, but in distance learning, the thing is about Edulastic is students wouldn't get feedback right away. They wouldn't know right away if they got a question wrong. So my purpose was to give them, like in question 3, here are some practice problems for you to try that are low stakes, right? I won't even know if you try them. And then in question 4, here are the answers. So it's kind of their opportunity to try it. And then comes practice questions on that topic. So I'm gonna play this video that I made just because, like I said, it's kind of laggy if I show you. So here it is, kind of from what the student view looks like, and also what the presenting view looks like. And yeah, so let me mute myself first so that I don't, oh no, you got to get the audio from me, I guess. What an assignment would look like using this strategy. So here, I'm on question 6 of this assignment. I actually used the first 5 questions for students to make some observations about some things, right? Kind of the way you would do like a do now in class. So they get to this, which is essentially the beginning of the assignment. And they click this link. And notice that the video opens in a separate tab, which is kind of nice because they can watch it and then they can actually just leave it open and sort of come back to it, which is nice. I prefer this. You can embed a video right in Edulastic, but I actually like the link separate. So they said, yeah, I watched it. And then on the content of that video, they have an opportunity to practice. So this is just a picture of a piece of paper where I wrote some practice problems. They're going to do those practice problems and they're going to say, yeah, I did them. If they didn't do them, am I going to know? Nope. But they're going to check their answers here, right? And they're going to say, yep, I checked my answers. So at this point, they've watched a video, they've had an opportunity to practice the content, and now they're going to go ahead and do these questions and they're going to submit these to me, right? Now here, they're not going to get feedback, right? Now, okay, they've tried it. They've tried that one thing. Now here's video number 2. And again, it opens in a separate tab. So they're going to watch this video. They're going to learn something new on top of this, right? In this case, it's, okay, well, what if there's a negative sign? And again, they get to do some practice problems. They check their practice problems and on they go and they continue. And in this particular assignment, I actually go through 5 levels of this. So I'm sort of introduce a topic and then complicate a little bit and add on top. And then on the back end, this is what I get to see, right? Which is I see, oh, it looks like overall people did pretty good, right? I see, there's some on this last line, students are struggling here. Let's come up here. I can see, oh man, question 34, I can click. I can see, wow, that really, that one was a doozy. A lot of them got it wrong. Oh, I noticed, there was a negative out in front, right? Whatever it is. So not only are the students getting experience of sort of learning and building on their knowledge, but I also have the knowledge I need to come back and respond. And if I was in class, if the students were sitting in my class, I could give them the same assignment. And then what I do is I just project something like this. I just zoom out and I project this on the board. And so as they're working, Gracia is sitting here working and she can just look up and say, oh, I have all greens, cool. And I'm going to hit submit, right? Or Adriana can see, oh, I have number 34 is wrong. Let me go back and fix that, or let me ask for help on that. So that's it from me. I would say the Edulastic does have a little bit of a learning curve. So if you haven't used it in the past, I would say to be patient because it is an awesome program once you learn to use it, but I would say it does take a little bit of time. But if you have used Edulastic in the past, I really have enjoyed using it this way to where I can use it not only to assess, but also present content.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Very cool stuff. Last, certainly not least, Mr. Ryan Kimes.
All right, let me get this set up. Okay, so I should be sharing my screen, and are we looking at Desmos? We're good?
Good.
Okay, cool. So what I wanted to do, what I'm going to talk about mainly probably concerns more the non-math teachers than the math teachers, because a lot of the stuff math teachers are already aware of. But I wanted to kind of show kind of how flexible Desmos can be. And so again, we have the introduction and then the different levels. So let me just show a couple features that Desmos has that can apply to pretty much any subject. So if you see this image right here, you could pretty much choose any image you could possibly want. This is similar to a Pear Deck slide in that the students can draw on it. So you can use colors, and then you can get the responses from the students and kind of share that with the class. But there's some other features that I think are really unique to Desmos that I think is really useful. One of them is when you ask a question, whether a multiple choice or like a yes or no question here, you can have them explain their thinking. The nice part about this is you can make it so it shares with the students, and what happens is as they go through the activity, they will actually see random set of responses. Sometimes I wish we could choose some of those responses a little bit better, but they'll see a random selection of responses from their classmates, so they can kind of get some feedback in terms of what everyone else is saying, and then you get all of the responses, and of course you could also share all those responses at the end. But I think that's a really key feature of Desmos in terms of getting some feedback there, is you can ask a multiple choice question and then ask them to explain it. The other thing I wanted to show is just you can also do image-based multiple choice questions, have them answer something, and still, you know, be asked to write a response to it. So that's one kind of key feature of Desmos that I think shines compared to other programs. The other one that I find really useful is their card sort. They have, you can pretty much use any sort of image and create these draggable cards. And so you can start to, I'm totally not going to do this in any way. You can do this kind of in like kind of any sort of scenario you want. And you can have the students, basically what they'll do is they'll group up the cards. And then I kind of have to show you that they can reflect on what they chose. And let me show you what the end looks like first. What I'll project sometimes is whether or not they're getting these sorts correct or not. So what it'll look like on your screen is you'll see the greens and reds. And if just like with Edulastic projecting what's right or wrong, you can project the card sorts about what's right or wrong. And the students can get some feedback on that. This works really great as like a paired activity. And you can do, so the links that I sent have like all sorts of examples for card sorts. So if you scroll through there, you can find all kind of stuff. You can use images, you can use vocabulary, whatever you want there. And then the other Desmos feature I wanted to show is the polygraph, which is also a very unique Desmos creation. Polygraph is like a guess who game. So what happens at the beginning is you'll have a set of images. Now, the default for them is they have a bunch of polygraphs that are math-based, so they're graphs. And the whole idea behind polygraphs is it's a vocabulary-based kind of activity. And what happens is they get partnered with a random student in class. And then they have to, one person picks the equation, or in the example I showed here, they pick the character, and then, or important historical figure. And then the other person has to ask yes or no questions to try to guess who it is. So like, is this person an American? Is this person a political leader, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a great way to start with vocabulary at the beginning of a unit. Here's another example of one used in like a Spanish class. So I find polygraph and card sort are very, very good ways of kind of getting into the content, especially at the beginning. And then just to show you one other example, kind of going back to the various levels, you can also use pre-built activities, and there's a bunch of them out there for all subjects, or you can make your own. And so like an example of an activity that I made, this is one that kind of is a hybrid between technology and non. So the students are working on their own personal like whiteboards with a partner. They solve the equation or graph it. They put these points where it belongs. And then on the next screen, they can check to see if they were right or not. So that's Desmos. Any questions on that? Okay. I'll move forward real quick on Khan. Khan's going to be really fast. So with Khan Academy, I was just trying to like give you guys some resources in terms of, for those that haven't used it, introduction, and then in level 2, sort of ways that people implement Khan. So there's a few examples of different ways in which you can use Khan Academy. I think the big part about Khan Academy for distance learning is the fact that the students get feedback right away. you can create assignments, and those assignments can be videos, those assignments can be exercises, those assignments can be articles. And then when the students get it, and let me just do a student view here, they'll get questions, and if they're not sure, they can get a hint or they can watch a video. So what's so great about Khan is the immediate feedback. I think in the beginning, Khan was I kind of hated it at first, but I think over time they've really improved it in terms of, you know, how many questions students have to do, what kind of feedback they get on it. And so I think it's gotten a lot better. They have it for so many subjects now as well. You can take their assignment scores and see them really easily. So here's an example of what I'm looking at when I see all the assignments. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't integrate that well into Canvas, but I could be wrong. I haven't found a way to do that nicely. And then another thing, if you want to get a little bit more advanced into Khan Academy, is you can do something called like course mastery, which is something I kind of started using when we were doing the sort of optional learning period, enrichment period, and then I didn't go further with that. But you can set goals where students can work independently on getting sort of their course mastery percentage up. And Khan will actually give challenges that are specifically tailored towards the student. So depending on what they've missed and what they've gotten correct, it'll keep pushing them and challenging them further, and they can increase their course mastery progress, which can be a way to help them kind of work on their own, as opposed to you telling them every single specific topic you want covered. If you want to cover every specific topic, you can give them something like, I zoomed kind of weird on this, but a playlist of sort of which Khan Academies you want to do. So here's a spreadsheet where it's in there, or you can make a Google slide or Google Doc that has all the you know, Khan assignments you want them to do. But that's kind of the short and sweet on Khan.
Right on. Thank you, Ryan. As expected, the 45 minutes went way too fast, and there's a lot of questions that unfortunately didn't get answered. So like I said earlier, if you want to stick around and hang out, we're going to stay on here. We can, you know, dive in a little deeper and answer some of those questions and maybe show some more examples of things. For those of you that need to go, you got another meeting or you got to do something else, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being awesome for the kids this year. We've all been through this adventure together. So thank you. Thanks to everybody. So have a lovely day for those of you leaving us and those of you staying. Let's keep the party going.